Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the meeting. And we're just waiting for one more minute so we can get more guests in, and we should be starting like in 1 minute. Thank you for being on time.
I'm not being told we're gonna have a meeting later on.
Okay, at 7:02, I think we're gonna begin now. I know people are coming in, but we wanna honor your time. Welcome, everyone. We are very happy that you're here with us this evening. My name is Elvira Macias, and I'm the family coordinator here at Sequoia High School. I coordinate the family engagement activities and events at Sequoia and assist families to navigate the different systems. We have great presenters this evening that will inform you about the programs and resources at here at Sequoia. We hope that you will take something new about Sequoia today. For some of you will be a lot of new stuff, and for some of you will be a review, but we hope that everyone takes something new. I know COVID has isolated us all, but we hope to come together through Zoom or other means, and we would love to hear from you, and together we can have events for our students to make it a better experience at Sequoia. Now we will hear from Vienna Vaca from Sequoia High School. Thank you for coming.
Maloelale, aloha, talofa, namaste pula vinaka. Hello and welcome to all our parents who are here with us tonight. Thank you for your time. I believe I called, can you hear me?
Yes.
I believe I called most of the Pacific Islander parents last week. So if you're here tonight, thank you for tuning in. Please take note of all the programs available for your children at Sequoia High School. Again, my name is Vienna Vaca. And if you have any question, you can call us and email us after. So thank you.
And now we want to welcome Sean Priest, our principal at Sequoia High School.
Thank you, Elvira. And thank you, Vienna. Just a shout out to Vienna. She's been such a great member of this community for a long time. And I'm very appreciative of the work that she does, both directly supporting students in the Teen Resource Center, but also I think just really keeping our community strong, particularly with regards to our Pacific Islander families. I'm very, very grateful that we know Vienna and have been able to work so successfully with her. So I just want to say good evening. I want to thank everybody for taking the time to be here tonight on this call. I know this is a priority that you've made, right? There are a lot of things going on, and you chose this as the thing that you're going to do tonight, and I'm really, really appreciative of that. I don't take that for granted. I want to take time to express some gratitude to Elvira Macias and our Family Center for making this event happen. I think it's a really important step in moving our community forward and bringing our community together in an even stronger way, and sort of using this moment as an opportunity to, I think, build some bridges. I want to thank all the staff that are here as well. You've made time tonight to be here. I know that probably meant that something else wasn't a priority, which very easily could have been a priority. So I saw the initial invitation list that Elvira sent out a few weeks ago, and I'm seeing a lot of names and faces on this call who weren't on that list of speakers. And what that tells me is that as word of this event spread within our staff community, that more and more people chose to step up or made it known that they wanted to be here and that they wanted to be a part of that night. I think that speaks volumes about our staff and the commitments that they make to students. And I'm certainly grateful to all of them. And I'm always happy to see their faces. There's a whole lot of things I'd like to tell you tonight. I think I asked for 10 minutes. You know, there are ways I'd like to talk about how Sequoia is completely different from any other school insofar as how we celebrate diversity, and insofar as how we support strong programs and strong supports for all of our students, with particular attention to students who have traditionally been marginalized by the education system, including those represented tonight with our Pacific Islander and African American families. I'm not going to do that because I think it's much more powerful to hear the voices of our folks that are here. But as the principal, I do want to take this opportunity to talk a little bit about the values that I hold at the core of what I'm trying to do as the leader of Sequoia, and what I think are also values that I share with a lot of my colleagues and partners in the work that we're doing at Sequoia and in this community. And I do this whenever I have the opportunity to speak, either at the beginning of the year or to a new group of people, a new group of families, or a new group of community stakeholders, because I want it to be really clear what it is that we're all about and what it is that I'm all about. So I hold this very, very close to my heart. And it isn't just necessarily about my professional values, but just kind of how I approach humanity. I think that every single person on this planet, what sort of unites us more than anything as humans, and certainly this applies to young people perhaps more than anybody, is this idea that everybody wants to be successful in learning. What we do as people throughout our lives is we learn new things, we get better at the things that we know, and those are where we find our rewards, and that's where we find our fulfillment in life. And so there's nothing quite like being successful as a learner. It's right there in our mission statement, right? The idea that at Sequoia, you're going to graduate with an appreciation for what it means to be a lifelong learner. And I think that being successful in learning is at the heart of being a human, and definitely at the heart of being an educator and a student and a part of a school community. So I really, really believe that that's something that unites us, perhaps more than any other thing as humans, is our strong, strong desire to be successful as learners. There's another thing that I also believe, which is that there are all kinds of things outside of our control which hold us back from being successful in our learning. With particular attention to our students, I think there are a lot of things outside of our students' control that hold them back from being successful in their learning. These things might include language. These things might include the extent to which they have opportunities to engage in the way that school is structured because of the things that we do as a school, how we sort kids, how kids have been placed in classes, or what kinds of books kids are asked to read, or what kinds of seating arrangements kids are asked to seat in. It may have to do with how things are at home, how much quiet space there are for kids to spread out and do homework, or maybe what kind of conversations are taking place at the dinner table. There's a whole bunch of stuff that happens with kids. Maybe it's a learning disability. Maybe it's the way that an individual student's brain processes information, which is holding them back from being successful in school. Now, that's different than being successful in learning. And I really think it's important that we make that distinction, because what happens all too often is that very early on in a student's life, maybe as early as kindergarten, I've seen it happen, that a student equates success in school with success in learning. And if they're not successful in school, they don't have that confidence to be successful in learning, which I think helps make for a fulfilling life. And that, to me, is one of the biggest tragedies of our educational system, right? So when I think about what we do and our duty as educators, and all the people that I can look at on this call tonight, I know share this with me, right? When we look at our practice, when we look at our institutions and our systems, we really, really have to think about what are the things that we're doing, or what are the things that we can see and that we can identify as getting in the way of our students being successful as learners, that we can either get out of the way that we can help push kids over, lift kids up, push kids through, take kids around, or break out our sledgehammers and bust down ourselves. That's our duty as educators, is to find the things that either we're doing or that are happening around us that are holding kids back from being successful as learners, and to really take those things on. So when I think about my values, it's, again, success as a learner is something that we all share, right? There are things that are holding a lot of our students back from being successful as learners. And our job as educators is to take those things apart and try and do everything we can to make our students successful in learning and make our school a place where being successful as a student is the same thing as being successful as a learner. So the feedback that we give, the grades, the way in which we report success reflects what it means for a student to have actually mastered something, and not some other system or priority that's maybe been in place for a long, long time and that we've all just sort of accepted or taken for granted. And this is really powerful work. This is really rewarding work. It's really difficult work. And it's work that as educators, we cannot do alone. And now notice, I think when I talk about these things, that we're talking about, and all too often this happens when we talk about our schools and our different populations of students and which students are doing well versus which students aren't doing well and which families have more influence than other families. We tend to talk about certain groups of students or certain groups of families as groups that we need to address, or groups that we need to fix, or the groups that we need, the problems that we need to solve. And what I hope is that when you hear me talk about our values, you hear me rejecting that notion, right? What we need is partnership. What we need is shared knowledge. What we need is dialogue. And what we need is this to be ongoing, right? So it's not one meeting tonight and then we check this off the list. Hey, we talked about our Pacific Islanders and our Black students tonight. Fantastic. We'll see you all next year. No, this needs to be something that's ongoing. This needs to be something that happens over and over again. It's a dialogue. It's a back and forth. It's power that we're giving and sharing with you, and hoping that you can engage with us and help identify what some of those roadblocks are, so that we can all help our babies to get through, around, over, under, across, whatever line that we're drawing in their success. I feel really, really strongly about this. It's why I do the work that I do. It's why I love working at Sequoia, because there are so many of my colleagues who I know share these same commitments and who I see every single day working really hard towards these commitments. So tonight is about that. Tonight is about creating that bridge, is about trying to strengthen our community. What I would say is that please don't make this the last meeting that you attend. We have monthly PTSA meetings. We have monthly English Learner Advisory Council meetings. We have lots of opportunities, I think, to engage. Elvira is a great contact that you already know because you're here. Vienna, likewise, same thing. You're gonna meet some new people tonight, maybe, or you're gonna be reintroduced to some faces that might be familiar tonight. Please, I hope, take some notes. These are people that hopefully we can continue to connect with. We have a lot of great programs at Sequoia. All of them, I think, are, again, designed with that same mission in mind, this idea that we are doing everything we can to bring out that human within each one of our students who, more than anything else, wants to be successful in their learning. So I'm going to get out of the way at this point. There's much better speakers on this call than I am. I really appreciate everybody's time. I really appreciate everybody listening. And it's nice to see some faces. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Sean. We appreciate your words. And now we have Isha Bad, our PTSA president.
Hi. Can you hear me, Elvira? Hi.
I can hear you.
Perfect. Cool. Thanks for inviting me. And I'm so glad to be here. As Sean mentioned, this is a very special year for us. And I would love to have seen you and been with you in person on the campus. But today, or this year, is a very unique year and we have to be virtual. But so far what we've seen is, even though we are virtual, even with distance learning, I feel that the staff and the students are picking things up and are continuing the education and the school year as best as they can. And there are a few things that you'll also hear from the other speakers that are going on really well that I should talk about. One is the ASB and the leadership work that Corey, Mr. Uhalde, and his students are doing. There's a lot of resources that they're offering for the students, for the parents, and for the community. So I would encourage all of you to take
I think you're
Someone
muted.
muted me. Hi, Kristen.
I
You
can hear
can't
you
hear
now.
me?
Yes.
Oh, so you couldn't hear me before?
Yeah, we could hear you.
Okay.
Just maybe the last seconds.
Okay, cool. So basically what I was sharing is the opportunities that the school has, the staff, the administration, and the students from the leadership team have so many opportunities that I think all of us can leverage. And I think it'd be really nice and important for us to have our kids use those resources that are available for us. Just building up on Sean's message of where we are this year, I think typically we would have done this in person, but as we see us and all of us trying to do this virtually, I think it'll be really important for us to encourage our students to connect with each other and connect on many different levels. You can encourage them to take part of the clubs that are available, the teachers who are offering special time and extra time for you to engage with them and get help with them. Students who are there to help you on different classes, different sports, etc. So I would really encourage, especially this group and similarly the other parents, to go beyond and try to make these connections virtually and at a different level. We have also been talking about sports having started. So I hope you followed up on that. And through the PTSA and through some of our other programs, we're really trying to see how can we bring these connections back. And one of the areas that we are thinking about is for the freshman class. The freshman class, it's really hard for them. We've gotten a lot of feedback that the freshman class is feeling a little bit isolated. They would like to meet their new friends. They would like to be on campus. They would like to meet the teachers. So we are thinking about unique ways in which we can bring them together, maybe in smaller groups, maybe even doing a virtual session for them, like a social where they could connect. So I would really encourage all of us to, at this time, have our kids take that extra mile or take that extra step to feel that connection within the school. I can see Corey and I can see some signs that I need to jump off. So the only thing I will say is if you need any help, the PTSA is there for you. So feel free to email us at sequoiaptsa@gmail.com. And if you have any feedback, any questions, we'll be happy to connect you to the right folks. And then also subscribe to the Sentinel, which I think all of you might have already have. But if not, please subscribe to the Sentinel. And that's the best way to stay connected with the community and with all the news that's happening on campus. Thank you. And I think, Corey, it's over to you.
Great. Thank you, everyone, for having me here tonight. I am super pleased to be here. My name is Corey Uhald. I'm Director of Student Activities at Sequoia High School. Basically, when you think about a lot of the non-curriculum stuff that goes on high school campus, that's sort of the world that I live in. So it's definitely the dances and the pep rallies and stuff, but it's also community service projects and outreach to marginalized student groups and things like that. So that's very, very important to me. One thing that we have been striving to do since I got to the program a few years ago is really make our leadership program representative of our student body. And that presents some challenges sometimes. We aren't always pulling people from all corners of campus to be involved with our leadership program. And the issue with that is that sometimes the events that get put on when you're talking about lunch or rallies or things like that, they're not engaging to our full our student body. So like I said, it's an ongoing project for us to do that. Over the last couple of years, we've started sending our ASB officers into classrooms to speak with students, telling them about what we do and about how important it is to us to incorporate all these different voices into the things that we do and encouraging them to come check us out and join us. So that's something that we've started doing. The other thing that I wanted to talk about was just the relationships with different student union groups that ASB is trying to facilitate. So our Latino Student Union Club on campus, our Poly Club, our Black Student Union, our Asian Student Union, all of these different groups that are active and doing awesome things on campus. We're trying to find ways to incorporate the points of view of those groups and the things that are culturally important to those groups into what we do, and to truly make it a multicultural kind of melting pot, the world of activities at Sequoia. So I'm just here to talk about how important it is for us to keep encouraging students to get involved. If you have a student who even expresses an inkling of a desire to get involved with a rally or show up and do something in a football game, those are the types of things that we're really looking for. This school is a truly special place, and this idea, this mission of Unali'i, a place of friends, this is a place where our differences aren't even just recognized but celebrated amongst each other, is probably the most important thing to me. So just looking for ways that we can do that. We have an awesome and supportive staff that's really committed to that mission as well. So what we'll be doing again is just continuing to visit with those student groups, to go out into classes when we hopefully return to campus, and just speaking face to face with anyone who will listen to us about how we want more voices, more people to come join us. I think that the more voices we have in our room making decisions about the types of events that we put on, the better it's going to be, the more awesome, inclusive, engaging environment it'll be for all students. So I would welcome you. All our information and my information is on the school website. We have information posted about our officers. You can contact them, your students can contact them. And we just want to be here and continue to grow in that mission of, like I said at the very beginning, making our leadership group look more like our student body. And so any support that you guys are able to provide in that, we love it. If you have ideas, or your students have ideas about types of things that we can do, but you want to stop short of getting fully involved, just let us know. Reach out. The students should know how to get a hold of me and of our student groups. And we really look forward to that type of collaboration. So thanks so much for welcoming me here tonight, Avira and everybody. So that's all I've got. Thank you guys so much.
Hi, and I'm Taja Henderson. I never knew a 7 o'clock parent meeting Zoom was the trick to get my daughter to go to sleep early. She sat here and was knocked out within like the first 5 minutes. I thought I was going to have some problems tonight, but it all worked out. So I am Taja Henderson. I am a social studies teacher at Sequoia. I teach in the Digital Arts Academy, and I am also an advisor, a co-advisor for the Black Student Union. First, I'd like to just give some advocacy and some empowerment tips. And the first one is that all students need an advocate, and there is no better advocate than you as a parent. And we know that advocates are needed, especially for our Black and our Poly students. My first tip is to make sure that you're involved. I fully understand all of the demands that are placed on us, but it's very important that administrators and staff know your faces and know who your student is. So I'd like to encourage you to make sure that you are involved. When you are involved, it brings an immediate impact to change the environment of any school. The next tip is to connect with the teachers and build relationships. Each teacher on average has 5 classes of 35 plus students. It is almost impossible for us to continually reach out to parents, but if you reach out to us, most teachers will immediately respond back. I know I've had several conversations with Mr. Smith on the call right now relating to his sons who I've had as students. And I always say that the second that a parent reaches out to a teacher, it builds that relationship. There is an African proverb that says that it takes a village. During this pandemic, it takes all villages to make sure that our students are successful. My mom is fostering a senior at MA, And believe it or not, when this girl is on distance learning, my mom has a seat right next to her. So she's like one seat away watching the screen of what's happening. She's in constant communication with the teachers, and the second her grades start to dip, her teachers reach out to my mom because they know that my mom's dialed in and bought into her education. And that relationship was started because my mom has been reaching out to the teachers. So I just want to make sure to encourage you to work and build on that relationship, because that's another place where you can get a lot of immediate gains, and you'll know exactly how your student is performing in class. My next tip is to also get familiar with who's on our school board. There's something historic happening with the Sequoia Union High School District School Board, in where the way that elections are taking place has changed. So there's one way to make sure that your voice counts, is that in the school board elections, you have the ability to now elect a direct representative of your area. And specifically for those in Trustee Area E, which represents East Palo Alto, East Menlo, which is Bellhaven, and North Fair Oaks, you have the ability to represent someone who is going to speak directly for you. There's another competitive race that is happening in Area C as well. So I just want to also make sure that you are informed, like be educated about who you are going to vote for. We are in this historic election across the board. I've got my shirt on that says, make sure that you go out and vote as well. And that is a huge way and importance for our communities to make sure that our voices are heard. And if you aren't eligible to vote, then you can still make sure that you are counted by making sure that you fill out the census. And that's extended all the way through the end of October. So we know that there are multiple ways that we can be involved in this educational process. And then I am just going to focus on one more thing, is that be prepared to speak up if something that your student says doesn't sound right. So again, you are their #1 advocate. And most likely, if you don't speak up for them, no one else is going to speak up for them either. So this power comes from you as the parent to make sure that you're listening to your student, you're asking them, how did school go today? What did you learn? Were there any issues? And just make sure that you take time to have those conversations, and make sure that you reach out to teachers and reach out to administration again if something doesn't quite sound right, especially for our Black and Poly students. And again, I just like to focus on the fact that it does take a village, and you see a lot of the village on this call with the parents here, we've got the admin here, we've got teachers here, we have staff here, and we are all truly in this together. So one piece about the BSU. Our BSU is active this year. We are meeting virtually. We had our first meeting last week. You will from time to time get emails from me about events that are happening. I believe I sent an email about a Black Family Matters event that was hosted by MA's BSU. We are going to have those every other month. There's going to be a BSU from a school in the district who is going to put on events so that our network builds. And we know that when more of us are involved and together, it builds a network and builds community. So I will send information out again about when the BSU meets. I know that I am also supposed to speak about the Digital Arts Academy, but I'm going to share time with Ms. Yeager so that she can speak about AVID. And then Mr. Gray, when you hop on, can you just give a little spill about DAA for me? Part of the community that I love being a part of. All right, Ms. Yeager. And I am Taja Henderson. Feel free to email me or reach out to me. And now you'll know I'll be bugging you with more emails about things that are going to support our Black students and poly kids at Sequoia.
And thank you, Ms. Henderson. I appreciate it. I'm Tessa Yeager. I'm the coordinator of the AVID program. So AVID serves about 220 students at our school. We have 2 sections per grade. And one of the things that I think you're gonna hear sort of common is that big schools, you know, we have about 2,100 students at Sequoia. You have to find places to make it feel smaller. And sometimes your students are placed in programs that allow them to feel that, but many times it's about what are the opportunities and how are they going to make a bigger place feel smaller. So when we talk about the academies or we talk about AVID, these are ways for them to start building some family some relationships at school that can have a really positive effect on their lives. So the AVID program seeks to have students for 4 years, ideally with the same teacher for those 4 years and the same classmates. And in that, it's a place where I often go and present to 8th grade students to recruit for AVID. And the question I always ask, how many of you want to go to college? And a bunch of them, almost all of them, raise their hand. How many of you know how to apply to college? And very few hands sort of go up. And I think that difference, that dissonance, is what the difference is about programs like AVID, about the resources at the College and Career Center with Ms. Ignitis, about approaching things like the IB program with Ms. McCann, is this idea that we have a dream, we have something we want to achieve, we have goals for ourselves, but we probably need some help actually achieving them. So in AVID, we seek to provide community for students so that if they decide to challenge themselves, which we have found over the years, many students have really stepped up. They're not only taking one IB class. I think our record right now is about 98% of our AVID students take one or more IB classes. But we now have about 75 to 80% of students taking 3 or more IB classes. So when we see that, what we see is that students want to challenge themselves, but they also know that they have sort of a cushion of support. So what happens for AVID is it's a 7th period class, and we want to encourage your students, whether they're in 9th grade or 10th grade, for instance, or you have a younger sibling that might be coming to Sequoia, to really think about a program like AVID where they're going to get that support in school and really develop that family relationship. I like to also say to 8th graders, it's like having your parent at school. It's always a good squirmy moment where they realize that I don't want my mom or dad at school. Not all of them get to be like Miss Stout and have their child at school. But I think it's also a really positive thing as the child of teachers. My parent was at school, all of elementary school, so I got pretty used to it. But I say that because we want students to feel comfortable. We also want them to feel protected. And we also want them to know that stuff might come up, that they may need help with something. And so we hope that through the AVID program, they build a relationship with a caring adult who will help, sort of build them up, and then also be able to help them sort of navigate difficult situations. So I'm happy to answer any questions about AVID at the end or anything, but I wanted to go ahead and then I think turn it over to Mr. Gray. Is that correct? Okay, great.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Ashley Gray. Honored to be here. Thank you, Elvira, for the invitation. Proud of my 2 social studies colleagues. Taja, thank you very much for representing all of the opportunities that our parents can get involved. Very well stated. I'm going to speak for both of our academies. Sequoia High School has 2 small school within the schools, and they are Career Tech Education, CTE, academies. One of them is the Digital Arts Academy, and one of them is the Health Careers Academy. Both academy topics were chosen with a purpose. We are obviously right near Silicon Valley, and the DAA can serve those students who are interested in pursuing a career that has a lot of local job opportunities. And then we have 3 major hospitals right around our high school. So in both instances, with both academies, we have partnership opportunities very close. They are schools within a school. We have smaller class sizes. Classes are under 25 students apiece, which is a big, big difference when you're talking a class of 35 when it comes to student attention with teachers. Both programs begin in the 10th grade and are a 3-year program. Students will take 4 of their 7 classes in the academy. They're English, social studies, science, and then a 4th elective class, health career related in the HCA, and digital arts and technology related to in the Digital Arts Academy. Both academies are partly funded by the state, and they help us out with reduced class sizes. And both academies, and there was one of our teachers was discussing taking advantage of opportunities. It's a great opportunity that is open to all of our students. And in fact, by state funding mandate, we need to serve 50% plus of our students need to be what are considered at risk, which includes meeting 3 of 6 risk factors, students being behind in credits, social economic concerns, behind in state testing scores, below a 2-point GPA, attendance issues, and a 6th kind of wild card called low motivation. Our academies seek these students who have not had equitable opportunities in the past. We seek students who have the personal maturity to recognize that they want to be in a smaller learning community where they can get extra help and they can find success. And both academies have worked really well hand in hand with administration and our counseling department in pushing our students to achieve as high as possible, getting into post-secondary college, community college are some of our chief goals, and similar to AVID. We would welcome, and I think both academies have a strong historical record of serving all of our students on campus, and proud of that record and look forward to continuing to do that moving forward. Also, as in Ms. Yeager and Ms. Henderson, we would be happy to answer any questions at the end of the presentation. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Terry Ignitis. I'm one of the college and career advisors at Sequoia. We have an additional one, Nancy Rocha, this year. So I'm so grateful to have two of us here. And we actually kind of split we're splitting the students up. So like Ms. Rocha has the Digital Arts Academy, and I have the Health Career Academy. And then we're both working with AVID, and then especially for seniors, we split them by the alphabet. So I have the first part of the alphabet, and she has the second. I think one of the most important things that parents can do is to understand what's going on. And I feel like we put out the weekly email and a lot of that information about meetings, the meetings that are in the evening, about what's going on, like next steps as far as the college process is that you should be parents should be attending those. I know that a lot of parents read the newsletter, and because sometimes they forward me, like they're supposed to be forwarding it to their child, but they're forwarding it to me. I have to say, hey, this is Ms. Ignitis. And so just even like getting, there's all kinds of opportunities in there that the students can participate in as well. And I feel like that's a really an area to just, if you just read that every week, it can give you some information. I feel like you should always be welcome to asking questions if you need questions. Usually what happens in the College and Career Center is normally it's student focused. So I really want the students to speak to us because this process is something that they have to be part of. And so somehow getting them, normally getting them into the room is nice, but since we have to do it virtually, just even if there is questions, telling them to set up a meeting, it's really easy. It's on our website. It's basically a click of a button that they can set up either a 15-minute or a 30-minute meeting with us to answer questions. And we're doing that, on a daily basis. I think those are the two things as far as the college the college stuff, the secondary, post-secondary. I think that if you have seniors right now, there's two things going on. There's the application process, and mainly right now it's focused on 4-year, but the second semester will be focused on 2-year. And also what's happening right now is financial aid. So we have a financial aid presentation in English and Spanish this Thursday. We have a Cash for College for seniors for if you need help completing your FAFSA or your DREAM application. So those are the kinds of things that are in that weekly email that if if you're keeping up with that. And then if you don't understand something, getting in contact with us and trying to push your students to contact us as well. We have College Club that's on not Thursdays, Tuesdays now this year. We just had it. I've been actually sitting here since 2 o'clock. And it's an hour a day on Tuesdays from 4 to 5. Just come in, get something done, and then you leave. And so we're just trying to get students to come in. So that kind of thing, pushing the students, telling them about College Club. is a good thing as well. As in the past, I've been the Poly, I can see some of the parents, Poly Club advisor for many years. And we haven't done anything this year. So if there are students, I was kind of waiting for somebody to email me and kind of say, hey, is somebody interested? We kind of had a whole bunch of seniors leave. And so if there's interest in starting that Poly Club, I certainly would like to hear from you. We did do some events. We had some stuff going on. We had some parent events, which I thought were really super helpful. And I would love to continue that. Again, if you feel, especially the Polynesian community, if you feel like you need something, you can start with me if you want, and I can try to find help for you in any way. So always remember that you can email me. It's probably the best way to contact me. I am at school in the morning, so you could call the classroom, but it's probably best just to email me if you have any questions or anything. Lisa.
Okay. Thanks, Terry.
Hey, no problem. I don't know how to unmute myself.
I'm Lisa McCann. I am the IB coordinator. IB stands for International Baccalaureate. It's our honors program. These are classes that are more challenging, and they take place in the 11th and 12th grade. So 11th and 12th graders are the ones enrolled, and 9th and 10th graders are in classes that prepare them for IB. Our goal at Sequoia is for all of our students to take at least one IB class before they graduate. We're not there yet. That's our goal. And the reason that we have that goal is because we want all of our students to be prepared for their post-secondary plans, prepared for college, prepared for the professional world. And I strongly believe, and a lot of us believe, that IB does that. And IB is very unique in the sense that it is a program around the world. So students at Sequoia are doing the same curriculum that students across the world are doing in all different countries and continents. And so it's not a Eurocentric curriculum because it is worldwide. And that means the curriculum, the discussions, the content, the books that they read are not just through the lens of white or Eurocentric perspectives. IB's also unique in the sense that it really, really focuses on critical thinking. So not just memorizing content and regurgitating on a test, but really understanding how to think, how to analyze, how to express your opinion. And all these skills and much, much more, and I only have a few minutes, so I can't go into everything, but all these skills are the skills that really prepare students for college and for the professional world. And so that's why we want all students to participate, because we think it can help them. And the Health Academy, all of our students in the Health Academy take IB English. So I really think that what families can do is encourage your kids to take IB. We might have some senior families on this and your schedule's been set, but if you have younger siblings, or you have, or you're not senior year and you still have a choice for your schedule next year in the 11th and 12th grade, to find one or more IB classes to participate in. And because these classes are college preparatory rigorous, they can feel intimidating at times. Students can feel like, wait, do I really belong here? And they do. And so I think the most important thing families can do is when students are feeling like, I'm overwhelmed by this class, or do I belong here, or how do I manage my stress, is that you, along with your students, reach out to us. And I work in an office of two of us. It's myself and Magdalena Galvan. And we are constantly having meetings with students about how can we support you to get through this class and understand that learning can be hard sometimes and uncomfortable. And if you learn how to work through that, that's going to be so helpful for you in college, because when you get to college, you're going to have a hard class. You're going to feel like, oh my gosh, the people around me are smarter, or I don't know as much. And you usually do know as much. It's just that, you know, students think that, and we can like work with students to help them come up with strategies and approaches to handle it. And they feel so proud when they've done it. And we constantly are getting alumni coming back and saying that IB really actually helped them for college, and that, you know, compared to their peers at college, they weren't afraid about writing their first paper because they had done a paper like that in an IB class, or they knew how to go about research. And the other thing is that IB really, because it's worldwide, one of the missions of the IB organization is for students to understand that other perspectives can be right, and there are multiple perspectives, and that it's important to listen to each other and learn from each other. And so the more perspectives we have in our classes, the better the class is for everyone. We're enriching the discussion for every single student in there, and everyone brings a valuable experience to share and for us to learn from each other. So I don't know exactly what else to share about. I just really, you know, like everyone said, if you have questions, if your student has questions, please reach out. Please send us an email or call us. And we're here to explain things. We're here to share what the program is, to let you know the benefits, and then to help your students, you know, be successful in it. So I think that's it from me. I just encourage families to talk to their students about, are you in the IB program? If not, where can you be in it? We have some of the IB classes are 2-year classes, so you take them both 11th and 12th grade, and some are 1-year classes, so you can take them either just 11th or either just 12th. And we work really closely with the College Career Center. We work really closely with the guidance counselors, and we work really closely with AVID. And so, you know, we're all, like Taja said, it takes a village, and we're all communicating with each other and trying to support the students through this. And so we'd like to also extend that support to our families and our parents and our guardians who have questions, who want to understand things, or who also have feedback or thoughts that they need to share with us, so we can take that into account and make sure that we're making the experience for all students as successful and inclusive as possible. And that's it. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Melissa Perez. I am the head counselor at Sequoia. I actually have my camera off because I have unstable Wi-Fi, but I'm happy to be here with you all tonight. Thank you for carving out the time. So as the head counselor of the counseling office, or the guidance office, as many of us know us as, we have 6 counselors in our department, and we have 3 office support staff or secretaries. And so as the head counselor, I help support the workflow of our department, also like the collaboration with each other and with other departments, including district personnel or outside organizations as well. The counselors there's very few of us, so we have about 350 students each. I have slightly less as head counselor, but each counselor is also assigned a program. So we have a counselor that works with the Health Academy students. We have right now 3 counselors working with AVID. We have a counselor for DAA. And there's also a lot of collaboration with pretty much everyone that has been on tonight's meeting. So College and Career Center, IB office. We also have an intervention counselor who also supports with 504 plans. And you'll be hearing from Judy after me, but we also we collaborate a lot with our Teen Resource Center and their entire team, including Vienna, who spoke first. I also wanted to share again that we do work closely with community-based organizations like Boys and Girls Club, Kenyatta College, Upward Bound Through Kenyatta College, Foundation for College Education, East Palo Alto Tennis and Tutoring. There are a lot of different organizations that we're in communication with and that we are collaborating with so that we can best support your students. I also just wanted to mention a few of the different areas that we are hoping that we're supporting your students and we're working towards and supporting your students. And as my colleagues have mentioned earlier, it really does take a village to support our students and our families, and we're here to serve you. And so your voice is really important. And as counselors, we want to be able to help you. So please feel free to reach out to us if you need any help. So we do support students with the academic development piece. In some examples might be scheduling issues or helping students plan for the following school year, or with our freshmen developing a tentative four-year plan, or working with our seniors on their post-secondary plan and letters of rec. College and career development. So normally in the fall, we would have visited classrooms and done some of this. Right now, we're in the process of doing some recordings and working with social studies and English classes to roll out some of these college and career activities that we normally would have done in class. But that really looks like students working on Naviance, which is another online platform that they have access to. So we use that a lot, and we collaborate with the College and Career Center as well. For the social and personal development, while we're not licensed family and marriage therapists, we do support students in crisis. We do support in checking in with students who need emotional or personal support. We also, again, work closely with our Teen Resource Center team in referring students who may not have health insurance and need access to ongoing counseling, or that may need a check-in with a student to assess for suicidal ideation, or for a mentor. So our Teen Resource Center also supports students in that way, and we collaborate a lot with them. We do have a website that has a lot of resources. So I do encourage you all to look at the Sequoia High School website and search under department guidance. And there's several tabs that you can look at, including how to get in touch with your student's counselor. Thank you.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is Judy Romero, and I'm the mental health specialist at Sequoia High School and also the director of the Teen Resource Center, or known by the students as the TRC. That's what you will hear students refer to us, is the TRC. We're located right next to the health office, right across from the dance studio, and we're open from 8:45 to 5 o'clock. Most parents are not aware of that we do stay open after school hours. Right now, during distance learning, we had to transition to all of our service and programs to telehealth, which that means is that we're continuing to provide services, counseling, mentoring, but we're doing that by phone, by Zoom, by Google Meets, by Google Chats. We're trying to use every means necessary to be able to communicate with our students. soon I will be sending out a self-referral form for students through Canvas, and they'll be able to schedule appointments with us. But in the meantime, they can contact their guidance counselor or contact me directly to schedule a time to speak to one of the TRC staff. And as you will see on the slide, you have my email there, jromero@seq.org, and my extension. I am listening to the voice messages. And I wanted to let you know that emotional health is very important because it affects your students' relationships, family, friends, teachers, co-workers, and it really impacts their academics. It impacts their physical health. So it's really critical for us to provide these supports for our students. And as parents, what I would ask you to do is to pay attention. Pay attention to any changes you may see in your child's behavior, whether that's a change in sleep patterns and eating patterns, whether it's a change in their mood, their behavior, whether they're isolating themselves in their room, whether they're disconnecting with family, with friends. And as a parent, to reach out and get support for your child. And during this time is really critical because, our students are going through distance learning, which we've never done before. They're going through a pandemic, COVID-19. There's a lot of turmoil on the news every time they turn on the TV. Right now during our politics. So it's a very difficult time right now for our students. So one of the things that we're trying to do is to positive coping skills, is to help them develop these positive coping skills so that they not lean towards negative coping skills. And one of the things we do is mindfulness. So Sequoia's on mindfulness. We've been training teachers. Many of the staff that are here today have been trained in mindfulness, and they implement mindfulness in their classrooms. And right now what I've done is on Wednesdays, I provide mindfulness practices for students at noon, and they got the Zoom link through
Judy, we can't hear you.
Well, I know the Zoom link's in my weekly email, so you could look there. I don't know where else it is.
Yeah, I think probably she was having problems with her Wi-Fi, so maybe she'll be back in a minute. In the meantime, I want to ask any of the parents if they have any questions or concerns, and then when she comes back, she can continue speaking, and then we'll go back into our question and answers. Anyone have a question or a concern that they would like to share with us tonight?
There's a question in the chat asking, is the Health Academy still open for students?
Great question. It depends on what grade. We generally, the academies, exceptions have been made, but it's a 3-year program, and ideally we would like to have students come in 10, 11, 12. We have brought students in for 11th and 12th grade. I think it would be a pretty big exception to bring somebody in just for the senior year. It is a 3-year program. So again, ideally 10th grade. Occasionally we'll bring in somebody 11, not really 12.
It looks like the family's talking about a current sophomore.
Sure. Please email me. I'll put my email in the chat and feel free to reach out to me directly.
So there's another question. What's the difference between AP courses and IB courses?
So AP, Advanced Placement, is like IB, college preparatory program. They're challenging classes. They both can possibly lead to potential college credits and or course advancement, like a college saying, oh, you can skip this class because you took AP or IB and scored this on the exam. Excuse the screaming children in the background. Unlike Taj's kids, they didn't get the hint to take a nap or to go to sleep. So both are courses that make you more competitive. For college, that make use the context of where students are coming from. And so basically what was offered to them at Sequoia High School, and did they take advantage of it? So things like the academies, things like AVID, things like IB. And because we're not an AP school, they don't expect students to have AP on their transcripts. And just like a kid coming from Woodside High School or MA, where they don't have IB, they don't expect IB to be on the transcript, but they hope APs. So they're both set out to prepare you for high school and prepare you for college, and be more competitive to get in and go in with skills that help you succeed. They're quite, well, they're very different in my mind on how they go about that. AP is just in the United States, so it's a US-based program, whereas IB is worldwide. So that makes a difference, I think, in the curriculum and the approach. I think IB is much more focused on critical thinking and understanding how to learn and how to look at things from multiple perspectives, and how to analyze. IB also tries to develop characteristics in students beyond just, oh, I know the content, I understand the history, I understand the math, but also characteristics. They value characteristics like risk-taking, like taking a risk, which can look different for different students. It could mean raising your hand and attempting to answer the teacher's question, or other characteristics like open-mindedness or balanced. These are things that they feel like
Thank you, Lisa. I think she also froze. If someone else can answer the question, is ICAP the same as AP?
So ICAP is an acronym that we created at Sequoia for pre-IB courses, because you can't call a class IB unless it's in the junior and senior year. So ICAP is the courses that we say lead to IB, but no student has to take an ICAP course at the sophomore level to be able to go into a junior or senior year IB course.
And if I can just add to that, we've been working at Sequoia to work towards more of our 9th and 10th grade classes, all preparing students for IB. And so that's been something we've been working towards in English and history especially.
Thank you. Okay, Okay, yeah, so one of the question is, Mr. Priest mentioned having more meetings about this and how often will they be? That's a great question, and that's what we're trying to do. We want to for you to join us so we can create these meetings as often as maybe 2 weeks or maybe once a month. So it depends on what you want. Because we don't want to take too much of your time, but at the same time, we do want you to get involved. And so we want to hear from you. How often do you want these meetings to happen?
I'd also love to hear, you know, what would help you feel more confident in sharing power and having a greater role in this community. I would love to be able to use the time that we spend together. And if you're going to prioritize us among the many things that you have to juggle, what are the things that we can bring to that conversation to help you feel? Because it's one thing to invite you to a meeting and think about who we want to put out there and what information that we want to share. It's another thing to hear directly from you about what you want to know, what we can do to what we can provide to help you be a part of that. I know that in the past we've done things like take parents on through classroom walkthroughs to help understand what it looks like and feels like to be a high school student in 2020. And you know, we're really eager to hear from you about ways that we can help you feel more confident in engaging with our community. So it's not a question you have to answer right now, but think about it, and please by all means reach out to Elvira and or to me, and we can help I think strengthen this.
So if you guys don't mind, I'm just gonna put my 2 cents in. I got tired of typing, so I'm just gonna speak. I have currently 2 kids in Sequoia. I've had David, who's already out of Sequoia, and Albert, who graduated from Sequoia. So I've been at Sequoia for a while. And thank you all for putting up with my kids. But so I want to advocate for the other parents who don't have as much understanding as I do on how to navigate Sequoia. Because I know that that was Albert saying hi, everyone. Yeah, so again, I want to help Sequoia, help my other families, Pacific Islander families, on understanding how to navigate Sequoia. Now, first and foremost, thank you, Elvira, for putting this together. This is awesome. The first thing is, so the emails, they don't really work for our Pacific Islander families because a lot of them don't really check it. They might have an email, but they don't check it. What works is a phone call or a text, which Vienna did, and that worked awesome. Now, I check my emails, so that's how I know Elvira emailed. And on top of that, Vienna was like, yes, this whole week, Vienna was like, you better remember to come to the meeting. You better remember to come to the meeting. So that's why I'm here. But yeah, we just need not just the email, we need a phone call, we need a text, we need the meeting, Mr. Priest. We need to be led around Sequoia to, you know, let parents know, hey, this is what is going on at school. This is what your kid, a day in the life of a high schooler. They need to meet teachers, see who their student is seeing every day. They need to understand how to navigate Canvas. They need to know all of that. That's important information that parents do not know how to do. They also, you know, like, how do you fill out when my kid wants to play sports? How do I do Sportsnet? I need all that information. So I'm just trying to get it to you guys so you guys can understand that a lot of our Pacific Islander families do not know how to navigate all this. But if we were to have a meeting and sit down together and bring this to them, and Terry, Vienna, they can do all this, help our parents, and you teachers too can help our parents. It's just a matter of putting aside some time to do all this, work together, because it is true, Miss Henderson, that it takes a village to raise a child. I do truly believe that, because honestly, if I remember Miss Henderson because Albert and David both had her in academy, and at the end of Albert's senior year, he needed a push, and Miss Henderson was there to give that push. So, if we can work together as teachers and in a community and families, we can do this. We could bring more success to our Pacific Islanders, and yeah, that's all I gotta say.
Thank you. That's great information. That's exactly what we need, topics for discussion for future meetings. And so that's the reason we're here, so we can continue these meetings and we can have things that we can actually present to you that are worthwhile. So thank you for sharing. Okay, anyone else wants to share or ask questions?
May I ask something?
Of course.
Okay. I've been working with the students for a couple of years, and it was, for me, it's like up and down, round and round. The more I do, the more I feel like it's not even doing anything. But I guess it's because the connection is not enough. And also connecting with other staff members. And what I really wanted to ask, if the parents or the staff can answer, or maybe it's something that we can just think about, is how can we get these students, especially because I watch my Pacific Islander community kids, and I have nephews and nieces. Most of the time they just stay home doing nothing. They have a lot of time, to do work. If they just meet at school and not do anything for so many hours, but to have them passionate to do schoolwork. That's what I'm trying to figure out. What can we do to help them passionate for and love doing schoolwork? To know that football goes together with good academic, to connect the two. They're very talented, passionate about sports, but how can we help them to be passionate about academics and know that they go together with the sports? So, I don't know. It's just something that I've been hoping to figure out, so our kids will do well in school and know that in order to play, they have to do good in school. But I can't even figure that out with my nephews and my nieces. And even Leslie's kids, I call them nephews and nieces. I couldn't, but I'm hoping they would. So that's it. Thank you.
I have a question, please.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Since we're going to be meeting, this is going to be like a common thing. First of all, I'd like to thank all the teachers and Vienna for calling me yesterday to join this wonderful presentation. Thank you so much for your patience, and thank you for teaching our children. We appreciate that. And since the lockdown, you guys don't know how much we appreciate you guys even more. We know the struggles, and we know how hard your job is to try to teach our kids, because it's very hard for me to try to juggle a full-time job and try to keep my daughter, and she's only one. Grace attends Sequoia, and it's very hard to keep her on track. One of the questions that I have is there any way we can make Canvas a little bit more easier for us to access? I'm trying to keep her on top of her game, knowing that, you know, majority of the time I'm not at home. I'm usually at work, and I know that you guys can only help them to a certain extent. And so I want to know, because a lot of times I'm always, one thing that I've encouraged her to do is like keep her in the sense, or in the mode that she's still at school, except she's at home doing school. And so I keep her on a schedule where I bought her a calendar. Everything that she does is she has a schedule to fit her daily assignments and activities, meaning that, you know, she gets up, she gets ready for school just like she's going to school at Sequoia. She wakes up at 7:30, gets herself ready. 9 o'clock, by 8:30, she has breakfast, and I write this schedule out for her so she kind of does a checklist. And so the thing is that to help teachers, to help us parents help the teachers, I want to know how we can access Canvas a little bit more, and also if we can, if the teachers can, you know, supply us with their daily schedules, so that we know what the children are being taught each day, so that we can follow up. Because usually in the middle of the week or towards the ending, I have a sit down with my daughter and I tell her, okay, what did you guys do? What did you learn? And I want what she tells me matches what's on the agenda of the teachers. And, you know, that'll really help me tell her, like, look, you know what? This is what I got from the teacher, and has to match what you're telling me. It's not. So if you need help in this area, and also we need more tutoring sessions. There are some areas where I feel like my daughter is struggling in, and sometimes for us Polynesian, you know, our children are a bit shy because they're very respectful to their elders, and they use that to, I think they sometimes use it overboard to where they just don't talk at all, and whatever you say, that's what they do. Even if they don't understand it, they just do it as long as it's being done. And I try to teach my daughter that's not how it goes. You know, you have to really interact with your teachers, talk to them, ask questions, because that's what the teachers are always telling me. When I email them, I said, look, you know what, I want to know what my daughter's turning in and what she's not. And that's one of the things that I can't really see, because she tells me, you know, in the beginning, and I know that teenagers are like this. Sometimes, you know, you ask them, did you do this? Did you do that? They're like, yeah, I did everything. But I want to make sure that when I go into Canvas, I can see what she has submitted and what she has not submitted. So I think that would be a really good enlightenment to discuss in our next upcoming meeting. And yeah, I think that's pretty much what I, as a parent, is struggling in right now, is trying to keep my daughter on key. Because, you know, to me, like like Vienna said, you know, we have to get the kids not only on top of their game, but try to figure out a way to, you know, have them enjoy what's being taught to them. And I think that's what I wanted to say. Thank you so much, and I appreciate it.
Thank you. That was great. You know, and I really appreciate you taking the time to articulate that. This is the third parent meeting I've been in the last week, and that has been a theme of questions that I've heard, right? So in particular, I think that idea of how do we make it easier for whether it's family members or whether it's program support that we have here at school or through our partners to help our students navigate using the Canvas tool. It's hard enough to manage one class for one kid. I've got two little kids, and so I've had to figure out the way that two teachers are organizing their work, and they're elementary school kids, so it's not quite the same, but nonetheless, I totally recognize how challenging it's got to be for a family member or an AVID teacher or a special ed case manager to be trying to figure out what 6 or 7 different teachers are doing on their Canvas. And so we are taking some steps to try and help folks create some standardized approaches to using the Canvas tool in a way so where when you kind of go from class to class, you know where to look for certain things. And hopefully that'll make things a little bit easier. It's a work in progress, and we were kind of building this ship mid sea. So to some extent we're adjusting, but I really do appreciate that comment in particular, because I think it again gives us even more confidence to continue doing what we're doing. And I'm very grateful to hear you describe your parenting approach with your kid, because I know that it's probably not always the most fun conversation to have with your kid midweek, the one you described, but it's a really crucial one. And I hope that if your kid doesn't show you some gratitude now and appreciation of the role you're playing in helping support them, that they do someday, and someday very soon.
Okay, if you don't have any more questions, we are going to follow up. We're going to follow up, and we're going to email you or text you or call you regarding our next meeting. Okay, great. Sounds good, and have a wonderful evening. And thank you for coming. Thank you for being here. And thank you to all the teachers and staff for presenting. It was great having you here tonight. Thank you, and have a good night.
Thank you. Good night.